How cuckoo bananas is it that it's like fall time? Like, we're here. It's fall. It's a thing, which means that 2020 is almost over. And I'm definitely here for that. And that has nothing to do whatsoever with the poor today, but you know, just an observation. I'm going to tell you what we're doing today for the poor, but before I do, hello, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And today is day 177, and we are making a fall soap. A fall apple spice blend soap that is absolutely delightful. And this guy is actually colored, all natural colorants, completely natural scents, no palm oil. It's for one of my wholesale accounts that does strictly super duper clean with everything that she does, and I love it. She's definitely an eco warrior that I look up to and find a lot of inspiration from. Whenever I feel my life sort of slipping, I go and check out her Instagram and, pull myself back a little bit. So if you're interested in checking out her Instagram, you should do that too. It's called A Drop in the Ocean on Instagram, and her website is adropintheoceanshop.com. I shouldn't be telling you this now. I should be plugging her later, and we should be looking at her bar first. So that's what we're going to go do right now. Again, apple, spice, blend, all of the awesome things. Let's go watch it. So the making of the apple spice for A Drop in the Ocean's fall line. Now we have an annatto seed and madder root infusion to get the beautiful red. And then in the other container there is the essential oil blend mixed with kaolin clay. And then we have some cinnamon stick things that were made out of a melt and pour that I made, and so I know that it is all natural. It's actually a very interesting thing. We've been there's been this new trend thing going on with making transparent soap with all of the, and we did it yesterday, right? So that, but also I've shown you how to do a natural melt and pour soap that's not transparent, and so that's actually what those guys are, and they are colored with cocoa powder as well as a little bit of the oh gosh, what is that called? Oh, alkanet, yep. So you have both those in there. That creates a really cool chocolatey brown. I love that, especially when it's in a melt and pour, whatever. And so just molded the things to look like cinnamon sticks to go on the top. Now this oil blend, there's no palm in anything that A Drop in the Ocean does, even though our palm is responsibly sourced, and so we're definitely part of the RSPO, and that's awesome. A Drop in the Ocean chooses to not do any palm at all in their products, and that's great. So the oil blend for this is babassu and shea. And I love both of those oils. I put a lot of shea in my fall line because the shea butter in fall soaps, it's sort of something that I've always done. When the weather gets colder, I make sure to kind of up the butter that we put in the soaps, because it lends to a more kind of luxurious, kind of moisturizing-esque, lather. Now, before I put in the annatto seed and madder roots combination, which I have infused with a bunch of oils, and so I took an oil out of the total oil for this recipe. because I knew I'd be putting in a bunch of the annatto seed and madder root blend. So for the liquid oils for this, we have olive oil and argan oil, and that is it. Just those two. Kind of a simple blend. I love simple blends. And so the remaining stuff that's in the pot there is going to be colored with the annatto root or annatto seed and madder root infusion. And so now we have all of the oils back in the pot. All of the oils are now represented. And the little grainy bits there, that is actually a strawberry seed that we're using for an exfoliant and to give the bars a little bit more depth and texture. I mean, you're going to get some good depth and texture in the soap itself because we put the kaolin clay in, and it's actually dispersed in the essential oils and not in the, so it's dispersed in the scent and not in water. So that's awesome. But we want to give it some extra, you know, whatever. I love scrubby bars in the fall anyway. It's just a winning thing for me. Now, working with infusions to get your natural colorants, it's fun. It's absolutely great. It can vary from batch to batch, though, depending on how long your infusion has been setting, how potent, you know, the reagents are really to really extract the color. And so it's all kind of, it can change from one to the other. Now I am going to put the majority of the essential oil scent blend into this guy here. So the scent blend all goes into the red portion, with the exception of just a little bit at the end that contains the majority of the kaolin clay, because while I do have kaolin dispersed in oil that I'll be putting in this, I also want to, you know, put some powdered kaolin in the batch too, the more clumpy variety for the texture and all the stuff. So this, since it is the bottom layer, I am going to take the stick blender back to it before I pour it into the mold, so it will firm up faster, so I can get the white portion on as quickly as possible, and I'm not having to wait for things to, you know, set up. So we're going to go do that right now. Now, it's really kind of a silly thing that I'm worried about it not setting up fast, because see how quickly that it's thick and it's like ricing? Yeah, that's a thing. So the scent blend that I use for this, right, it has a lot of spice notes to it, and it's great. It's a lovely apple spice blend. It's very cool, but it does have a lot of spicy notes to it, and that tends to accelerate my trace. So my scent blend for this, to make an apple spice-esque, you know, is it's 6 parts orange, 3 parts clove, 3 parts nutmeg, 1 part cinnamon, 3 parts patchouli, and 2 parts cedar wood. And that creates a really lovely blend that has, like, it smells like a spiced apple or like a mulled cider, right? But like, there is no such thing as an apple essential oil, right? So I found that mixing orange and clove, or even orange and patchouli, especially orange and patchouli, you can get a really cool apple-esque blend. So if you're like, yeah, it smells like an apple, and then you smell it, the brain fills in the blanks and goes, yeah, that's totally an apple. You're absolutely right. And so that's my blend. So as you can see with the clove and the nutmeg and the cinnamon, there's not much cinnamon, hardly anything at all. And there's not a ton of the you know, clove and the nutmeg, but still some spice in there, and that tends to heat things up kind of quickly. So it's another one of the reasons why I don't put it in too terribly much within the top portion, because I do want it to be reasonably pourable so we don't have any big air pockets between the 2 layers, really. And so that's why this batter is so nice and fluid. There's no scent in any of that. There's no scent blend at all. So that's, you know, good. Now, when you're working with cinnamon in recipes, and I think we've done some cinnamon stuff before, but I haven't really talked about it. So cinnamon's kind of controversial in the soap making world. And I don't know. We all have our sort of ideas, and we've come to our own conclusions, I think, as seasoned soap makers that have been doing this for a bajillion years, as to how much of the essential oil itself actually remains after saponification, because we have a very violent process, right? Saponification, it's pretty brutal with the breaking down and all of the things. And so there is a school of thought that's like, yeah, totally, essential oils definitely survive the saponification process. And that's a school of thought. There's another school of thought that believes there's no way. And the only thing that remains is, you know, the strongest essentially chains, which would be, you know, the scent change. And that's basically where I tend to sort of stick with everything, unless you're doing like a hot process, and that's different, or a melt and pour, and that's definitely different. But regardless, cinnamon is one of those interesting things where it's not known to cause irritation across the board, period, end of, but it causes enough irritation that you have to be very, very careful when you put it in your soaps. And so the sort of like standard whatever across the board is you should not use it any more than like 1% of your total oil weight in your recipe. And so the one that I use for this, it's actually sitting at like, with this blend, it's sitting at like 0.5%, well within usage guidelines, and I haven't had anybody have any issues whenever I use cinnamon. But cinnamon is such a potent scent anyway that you really don't need too terribly much of it. So, you know, just keep that in mind when you are doing, you know, when you're buying your fall soaps or when you're making your fall soaps. If there's cinnamon included and you notice that your skin is getting, you know, red or whatever, you're probably having a reaction to the cinnamon, and so you might want to steer clear of things that have that in it. Again, this particular blend, because it's such a teeny tiny amount of the total, it's not. We've done skin tests with the most sensitive skin people I've ever come in contact with in my life, and they've had none issues. But that's not to say that no issues can exist, because cinnamon is one of those things that, as a soap maker, avoiding it would, well, I mean, it saves you the potential of it becoming an issue altogether. But then that's true of so many essential oils for so many different reasons, right? So like when you're pregnant, for example, all of the different essential oils out there that are not good during pregnancy, again, that becomes another interesting debate in and of itself, because if the essential oils and the qualities and the characteristics and like the benefits or whatever, you know, the essential oil people think that the essential oils have, if they don't survive the saponification process, well then logically that doesn't make, then it would be fine to use during pregnancy. But on the other hand, I'm not a doctor, and I avoided a fair number of things when I was pregnant. So, you know, avoiding the essential oils that are not whatever. And actually I have had, you know, multiple, so many, you know, pregnant soap sudsers that have come in and said, my doctor said I have to avoid this. And I'm like, wait, what? Like cocoa butter, for example. I had a, one of my sudsers, my most favorite sudsers ever. She was pregnant, and the doctor told her to avoid, I think it was cocoa butter. And I'm like, dude, that's in like all mom stretch mark products like ever. You've got like shea and cocoa. Really? You can't have that? And that was just a thing. So, and then she did it. Whether or not she thought there was any validity to it was irrelevant. You're not going to risk your, you know, baby safety, even so. So this guy is ready to not be C-popped and get cut tomorrow. So let's check it out. I got all random and tangity during that little, let's talk about essential oils during the pour thing. That was weird. Sorry. And yeah, look at that. I did not C-pop these stupid things. And look, they melted. This is one of the problems with the way that I make my melt and pour, you know, soaps, unfortunately. Like, it's all, they have a really low melt point, and that's irritating. So it's just the stuff from the, like the heat from the actual, you know, the saponification that's causing that, and that sucks. But those bars do not suck. Look how cute they are. I love the cool texture in there. Totally looks like, you know, like a spiced cider, and that's amazing. And the ones that don't have the broken stupid tops, they're cute. That one's, I mean, it's still cute. I'm obviously not delivering that to the client, but it's cute. It's gonna be a really great, you know, mystery bar for the scratch and dent line, so that's fun. And yeah, so again, the cool thing about working with the madder root and the annatto seed, what you see is what you get when you put it into the mold. So you're reasonably confident that it's not going to change colors at all. So the C-pop isn't 100% necessary, I have found, when working with completely natural colorants. Whereas micas, they can, you know, they're natural adjacent, but they can get still a little bit
catchy, whatever. So that is day 177, the apple spice fall bar for a drop in the ocean, and it's delightful. Totally smells like apple spice. It's great, and it's all a thing, and I know that she's super excited to get these into her line, so you should go check it out.
And there it is, the apple spice palm-free exfoliating awesome body bar. Lots of shea butter and babassu go into this guy because, again, we do palm-free for this line. And last year she got these soaps and she immediately sold out, so I know that she's super excited to get these again. And for that reason, if you are interested in picking them up, you should do so quickly, and you can find them on the website, on her website, at adropintheoceanshop.com. They are not available at soapandclay.com. Now, I have cool fall soaps and all the things over at my site. If you want to check those out, cool. But I do recommend checking out these because it's definitely a winning bar. If you're interested in following A Drop in the Ocean, you should totally find her on Instagram. Like I said, she's very inspirational. When life starts going pear-shaped, it's nice to be able to connect with something else, and I love her for that. So yeah, check her out. If you're interested in following me while you're there, I am on all social media things-ish. If you are interested in more soapy antics, then yeah, subscribe to the channel, do the things. That'd be cool. You could hit the word and we could be friends and it would be awesome. I mean, I'm not unfriendly to you if you don't hit the word, but hit the word. Help me grow. That would be cool. For those of you who have hit that word, thank you. I really appreciate that you hit it. And I'm glad that you are here for another round of 365 days of soap. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.